Since the Premier League's launch in 1992, transfer fees have steadily risen, with each season delivering its own headline-grabbing big-money move. But not every record-breaking signing lived up to expectations. In this video, we're going season by season, from the 1992-93 season through to the present 2024-25 campaign, to look at the most expensive signing in each Premier League season. Some justified their hefty price tags and became legends for their clubs, while others struggled to make the expected impact or failed to truly dominate in the way fans and pundits hoped. We'll be exploring who each record signing was, how much they cost, what the expectations were at the time, and whether they turned out to be a hit or a miss. From early examples like Chris Sutton's move to Blackburn Rovers, through to the modern-day mega-money deals, like Chelsea, and their eye-watering deal for Moises Caicedo, this is the story of the Premier League's biggest buys across more than 3 decades. So strap in, make a brew, and jump into today's video. The most expensive Premier League signings from each season. Were they a hit, or were they a miss? Let's get into it. In the summer of 1992, Blackburn Rovers, backed by the financial power of Jack Walker, made a major statement by breaking the British transfer record to sign 22-year-old Alan Shearer from Southampton for £3.6 million. Already regarded as one of the brightest young talents in English football, Shearer arrived with a big reputation, although he had just come off an injury-hit season. Despite suffering a serious ACL injury halfway through his debut campaign at Blackburn, Shearer had already scored 16 goals and made an immediate impact. After recovering, he took his game to an even higher level, becoming the Premier League's most feared striker. In total, he scored 130 goals in 171 appearances for Blackburn. His most iconic season came in 1994-95, when he fired Blackburn to the Premier League title, netting a staggering 34 goals and earning the PFA Player of the Year award. After 4 prolific years at Ewood Park, Shearer fulfilled a boyhood dream by joining Newcastle United in 1996, which we will come on to shortly. Alan Shearer's move to Blackburn was undoubtedly a hit, and remains one of the greatest signings in Premier League history, and one of Blackburn's all-time greats. In the summer of 1993, Manchester United broke the British transfer record to sign Roy Keane from Nottingham Forest for £3.75 million. The highly rated 21-year-old midfielder had impressed with his combative style, relentless energy, and leadership qualities, and was seen as a perfect fit for Sir Alex Ferguson's rebuilding project at Old Trafford. Keane slotted straight into the Manchester United midfield and quickly established himself as a vital part of the team. In his first season, he helped United win the Premier League title and the FA Cup, completing the club's first ever domestic double. Over the years, Keane became the heartbeat of Ferguson's most successful sides, captaining the club through a golden era that included multiple league titles, domestic cups, and the famous 1999 treble. His total record at Manchester United was 480 appearances, with 51 goals scored across all competitions. Keane's time at United wasn't without controversy, with clashes on and off the pitch, but his leadership, drive, and standards helped define one of the most dominant periods in English football history. He left the club in late 2005, after a fallout with Ferguson, finishing his playing career with Celtic. Roy Keane's transfer to Manchester United was undoubtedly a massive hit, and he is strongly regarded as one of the greatest club captains in Premier League history. In the summer of 1994, Blackburn Rovers once again made headlines by spending big, signing Chris Sutton from Norwich City for £5 million, another British transfer record at the time. Sutton was just 21 years old, and had built a strong reputation as a powerful, clinical forward with a great touch and a physical presence that made him a nightmare for defenders. At Blackburn, Sutton formed a devastating partnership with Alan Shearer, known as the SAS, and played a crucial role in helping Rovers win the Premier League title in the 1994-95 season. He scored 15 league goals during that title-winning campaign, and proved to be an ideal foil for Shearer, linking up play and creating space while still carrying his own considerable goal threat. Sutton stayed at Blackburn for a further 4 seasons, scoring 59 goals in 161 appearances for the club. However, after the title win, Blackburn's fortunes declined, and injuries hampered Sutton's consistency. Eventually, he moved to Chelsea for £10 million in 1999. Looking at his time at Blackburn alone, Chris Sutton's record-breaking transfer was a hit, particularly for his contribution to their unforgettable title-winning season. In the summer of 1995, Liverpool were the next team to break the British transfer record by signing Stan Collymore from Nottingham Forest for £8.5 million. Collymore had just come off a superb campaign at Forest, where he scored 22 goals and established himself as one of the most exciting young strikers in the country. Liverpool hoped he would be the final piece in their attacking puzzle. Collymore made an immediate impact and formed a dangerous partnership with Robbie Fowler. His pace, power, and long-range shooting made him a constant threat, and he finished his debut season with 14 league goals as Liverpool pushed for the title. However, while Collymore showed moments of brilliance, questions soon emerged about his consistency and off-field discipline. His second season was more turbulent, with form and confidence wavering, and he gradually fell out of favour under Roy Evans. After 2 seasons, 81 appearances, and 35 goals, Collymore was sold to Aston Villa in 1997. Although his Liverpool career had its moments, particularly in that thrilling 4-3 win over Newcastle, where he scored the famous last-minute winner, overall his move to Anfield must be considered a miss, with the player failing to hit the highs expected upon his arrival. In the summer of 1996, Alan Shearer became the world's most expensive footballer when he joined Newcastle United from Blackburn Rovers for a fee of £15 million. Fresh from finishing as the top scorer at Euro '96, Shearer was the hottest striker in world football, and his decision to join his boyhood club over Manchester United stunned many. Shearer made an immediate impact at Newcastle, scoring 25 Premier League goals in his first season, and helping the Magpies finish second in the table under Kevin Keegan. Despite persistent injuries throughout his time at St James's Park, he remained remarkably consistent, scoring goals year after year and becoming a symbol of the club's identity and fighting spirit. Over the course of his Newcastle career, where he remained before retiring in 2006, Shearer made 405 appearances and scored 206 goals across all competitions, making him the club's all-time leading goalscorer. Although major trophies eluded him during his time at Newcastle, his influence, consistency, and legendary status among the fans made his transfer an overwhelming success. Alan Shearer's world record move to Newcastle United was a clear hit and cemented his place as a Premier League and Newcastle icon. Returning to another familiar face in the summer of 1997, Aston Villa broke their transfer record for Stan Collymore, paying £7 million to bring him in from Liverpool. Returning to his boyhood club was seen as an opportunity for Collymore to reignite his career, but things didn't quite go to plan. He struggled for form and confidence throughout his time at Villa Park. Across just over 2 seasons with Aston Villa, he made 61 league appearances and scored just 15 goals, a far cry from the prolific standards he had previously set earlier in his career. Injuries, dips in form, and mental health problems off the pitch all played a part in his struggles. Collymore began the 1999-2000 season on loan with First Division side Fulham, before mutually agreeing to terminate his Aston Villa contract at the end of 1999. He remained without a club for a number of months before joining Leicester City in February 2000. Sadly, despite the hype surrounding his arrival, Stan Collymore's big money move to Aston Villa was ultimately a resounding miss. In the summer of 1998, Manchester United paid Aston Villa £12.6 million to sign Dwight Yorke. He had been a consistent performer at Villa, but there were some doubts about whether he could make the step up to a club chasing major honours at home and abroad. Any questions were quickly answered. Yorke made an immediate impact at Old Trafford, forming a lethal strike partnership with Andy Cole. His goals, movement, and infectious personality became crucial to United's success. In his first season, Yorke scored 18 Premier League goals and 29 in all competitions, playing a central role in the historic treble-winning campaign, which included lifting the Premier League, FA Cup, and Champions League trophies. Yorke remained an important figure at United for several more seasons, although his influence began to wane after 2000 as personal issues and fitness concerns crept in. Across his 4-year spell at Old Trafford, Yorke made 152 appearances and scored 65 goals in all competitions. He eventually moved on to Blackburn Rovers in 2002. Looking back, Dwight Yorke's transfer to Manchester United was undoubtedly a hit, and his first 2 seasons in particular rank among the best debut campaigns in Premier League history. In the summer of 1999, Arsenal paid £11 million to sign French international Thierry Henry from Juventus. Although Henry was highly rated after winning the World Cup with France in 1998, his short spell in Italy had been disappointing. There were serious doubts about whether he could adapt to English football, especially as Arsene Wenger planned to convert him from a winger into a centre-forward. It took Henry a few months to find his feet, but once he settled, he exploded onto the Premier League scene. Blessed with blistering pace, incredible skill and clinical finishing, Henry redefined what a striker could be in English football. He went on to become Arsenal's all-time leading goalscorer, netting 228 goals in 377 appearances for the club across 2 spells. During his time at Arsenal, Henry won 2 Premier League titles, including playing a starring role in the famous Invincibles season of 2003-2004, and lifted 2 FA Cups. He also won 4 Premier League Golden Boots, and was named PFA Player of the Year twice. After initially leaving Arsenal in 2007 for Barcelona, he continued to enjoy success before briefly returning on loan from New York Red Bulls in the 2011-12 season. Thierry Henry's move to Arsenal was an overwhelming hit, and helped transform both the club and the Premier League itself, and is regarded as one of the greatest players in the league's history. In November 2000, Leeds United smashed the British transfer record by signing Rio Ferdinand from West Ham United for £18 million, making him not only the most expensive Premier League signing of the season, but also the world's most expensive defender at the time. Ferdinand was regarded as one of the most exciting young talents in English football, calm on the ball, composed under pressure, and with a natural ability to read the game beyond his years. Ferdinand quickly settled at Leeds, becoming a key figure in the heart of their defence. His assured performances helped Leeds reach the semi-finals of the Champions League in the 2000-2001 season, an incredible achievement for a relatively young side. He captained the club and was widely praised for his maturity and leadership during a turbulent time financially for Leeds. However, the club's heavy spending caught up with them, and financial issues forced Leeds to sell Ferdinand just 2 years later. In 2002, he moved to Manchester United. His outgoing totals at Elland Road topped out at 73 appearances and 3 goals. Despite the relatively short time he spent at Elland Road, Rio Ferdinand's performances at Leeds fully justified the investment at the time, and his transfer must be regarded as a hit. In the summer of 2001, Manchester United broke the British transfer record by signing Argentine midfielder Juan Sebastian Veron from Lazio for £28.1 million. Veron was one of the most admired midfielders in Europe at the time, known for his vision, passing range, and technical brilliance. United fans were excited at the prospect of seeing him alongside Roy Keane and Paul Scholes in what looked like an unstoppable midfield. However, things never truly clicked for Veron at Old Trafford. Despite flashes of his undoubted class, he struggled. His style often seemed at odds with the more direct nature of English football, and he found it difficult to consistently dictate games in the way he had done in Italy. While Veron did have some strong performances, particularly in European competitions, he never fully lived up to the expectations that came with his enormous price tag. In a 2024 interview, teammate Gary Neville stated that although Veron was brilliant, he was the victim of the team struggling to adapt to a more European 4-3-3 formation, with Veron being Ferguson's first acquisition of a player who naturally played his new system. After just 2 seasons, Veron was sold to Chelsea for £15 million, representing a significant loss. He made 82 appearances for United, scoring 11 goals in all competitions. Although he won a Premier League title in his first season, overall, Veron's time at Manchester United is remembered as a miss given the size of the investment and the level of expectation. In the summer of 2002, Rio Ferdinand once again broke the British transfer record when he moved from Leeds United to Manchester United for £30 million. After 2 outstanding seasons at Leeds and a starring role for England at the 2002 World Cup, Ferdinand was seen as the perfect long-term solution to strengthen Sir Alex Ferguson's defence. Ferdinand settled quickly at Old Trafford, and in his first season, he helped United regain the Premier League title. Over the next decade, he formed a formidable partnership with Nemanja Vidic, becoming part of one of the most dominant defences English football has ever seen. Across his Manchester United career, Ferdinand made 455 appearances, scoring 8 goals, and won 6 Premier League titles, a Champions League, 2 League Cups and a FIFA Club World Cup. Despite a few controversies off the pitch, including a missed drugs test in 2003 which led to an 8-month ban, his overall contribution on the pitch was immense, eventually departing to Queen's Park Rangers in 2014. Rio Ferdinand's move to Manchester United was unquestionably a hit, and cemented his legacy as one of the best defenders in Premier League history. In the summer of 2003, following Roman Abramovich's takeover, Chelsea signed Irish winger Damien Duff from Blackburn Rovers for £17 million. Duff had impressed for several years at Blackburn with his pace, dribbling and creativity, and was seen as a key piece in Chelsea's plan to challenge for the title. Duff quickly became a fan favourite at Stamford Bridge, bringing flair and energy to Chelsea's attack. Although injuries disrupted parts of his first season, when he was fit, Duff's direct running and ability to beat defenders gave Chelsea a new dimension. He formed a strong partnership with fellow wide man Arjen Robben, and was instrumental under Jose Mourinho when Chelsea went on to win back-to-back Premier League titles between 2004 and 2006. In total, Duff made 125 appearances for Chelsea, scoring 19 goals and contributing countless assists during his 3 seasons at the club. In 2006, he left to join Newcastle United for around £5 million, seeking more regular playing time. Looking back, Damien Duff's move to Chelsea was a hit, as he played an important role in the early stages of the club's modern dominance. In the summer of 2004, Manchester United secured the signing of one of the most exciting young talents English football had ever seen, bringing Wayne Rooney from Everton in a deal worth up to £25.6 million. At just 18 years old, Rooney had already made a name for himself with stunning performances at Euro 2004, and although the initial fee was around £20 million, the add-ons were easily achievable, making him the most expensive Premier League signing of the season. Rooney announced himself in spectacular fashion, scoring a hat-trick on his Manchester United debut in a Champions League match against Fenerbahce. Over the years, he evolved from a raw, explosive forward into a complete attacker, capable of playing anywhere across the front line or in midfield. His aggression, technique, vision and eye for goal made him one of the defining players of his generation. During his 13-year stay at Old Trafford, Rooney made 559 appearances and scored 253 goals, becoming Manchester United's all-time leading goalscorer. He won 5 Premier League titles, an FA Cup, 3 League Cups, the Champions League and the Europa League during his glittering United career, before eventually rejoining Everton in 2017. Wayne Rooney's move to Manchester United was unquestionably a hit, and he remains one of the greatest players in both the club's and the Premier League's history. In the summer of 2005, Chelsea continued their heavy investment under Roman Abramovich by signing Michael Essien from Lyon for £24.4 million, making him the most expensive Premier League signing of the season. Essien had built a reputation in France as a dynamic, powerful midfielder with incredible stamina and the ability to dominate, both defensively and offensively, and he was seen as the perfect fit for Jose Mourinho's system at Stamford Bridge. Essien made an instant impact at Chelsea, becoming a vital part of the team's midfield alongside players like Frank Lampard and Claude Makelele. His athleticism, tackling and versatility, often filling in at right-back or even centre-back when needed, made him an invaluable squad member during Chelsea's dominant years. He was particularly known for scoring spectacular goals, including memorable long-range strikes against Arsenal and Barcelona. During his 9-year spell at the club, Essien made 256 appearances and scored 25 goals. He won 2 Premier League titles, 4 FA Cups, a League Cup, and a Champions League title. Although persistent knee injuries sadly prevented him from reaching even greater heights in the latter part of his career, he spent time out on loan with Real Madrid before joining AC Milan on a permanent deal in 2013. Despite the injury setbacks, Michael Essien's transfer to Chelsea was clearly a hit, and he remains one of the most popular and respected players of the Mourinho era. In the summer of 2006, Chelsea made another massive statement by signing Ukrainian striker Andriy Shevchenko from AC Milan for £30 million. Shevchenko arrived with one of the most fearsome reputations in world football, having won the Ballon d'Or in 2004 and consistently delivered goals at the highest level in Italy and Europe. However, despite all the expectation, Shevchenko's time at Chelsea was a major disappointment. He struggled to adapt to the physicality and pace of the Premier League and never looked fully comfortable in Jose Mourinho's system. Whether it was a loss of sharpness, injuries, or simply a poor fit for the team, Shevchenko failed to recapture the lethal form he had shown at Milan. In 2 seasons at Chelsea, Shevchenko scored just 23 goals in 77 appearances across all competitions, a modest return compared to his prolific record in Italian football. He was eventually loaned back to AC Milan and later returned to Dynamo Kiev to finish his career. Given the sky-high expectations, the reputation of one of the world's greatest strikers, and the size of the transfer fee, Andriy Shevchenko's move to Chelsea must be considered a miss. In the summer of 2007, Liverpool made a major splash in the transfer market by signing Fernando Torres. The Spanish striker arrived from Atletico Madrid for £20 million. Torres arrived with a big reputation as one of Europe's brightest young strikers, but there were still questions about whether he could adapt to the physical demands of English football. Torres answered those questions emphatically. He enjoyed a sensational debut season at Anfield, scoring 24 Premier League goals and 33 in all competitions, breaking numerous records along the way, including becoming the first Liverpool player since Robbie Fowler to score more than 20 league goals in a season. His pace, movement, and clinical finishing made him almost unplayable at his peak. Over his 3.5 years at Liverpool, Torres scored 81 goals in 142 appearances, becoming a huge fan favourite. However, injuries began to take their toll, and by the time he left for Chelsea in January 2011, his form had already started to dip. Despite the disappointing way his Liverpool career ended, Fernando Torres' move to Anfield was clearly a hit, especially considering the incredible impact he made in his early seasons. On transfer deadline day in the summer of 2008, Manchester City stunned the football world by signing Robinho. The Brazilian striker arrived from Real Madrid for £32.5 million and had been linked heavily with Chelsea throughout the window, but City, backed by their brand new Abu Dhabi-based owners, swooped in at the last minute to announce their arrival as a new financial powerhouse in English football. Robinho made an immediate impression, scoring on his debut against Chelsea and producing flashes of brilliance throughout his first season. He linked up well with Stephen Ireland and finished his first season as City's top scorer with 14 Premier League goals, showcasing his dribbling, flair, and creativity. However, consistency was a problem. His form dipped dramatically the following season, and with City acquiring other striking options such as Emmanuel Adebayor and Carlos Tevez, the dependency on Robinho as the club's favoured target man was beginning to evaporate, with questions also raised about his attitude and commitment, particularly away from home, where his performances often fell flat. By January 2010, Robinho was loaned back to Brazil with Santos, marking a premature end to his Manchester City career. In total, he made 53 appearances and scored 16 goals for the club, eventually being sold to AC Milan in the summer of 2010. While Robinho's signing was symbolic for City's future ambitions, on the pitch, his impact was short-lived. Ultimately, Robinho's move to Manchester City must be considered a miss, although it paved the way for bigger stars to follow. In the summer of 2009, Manchester City continued their rapid rise by announcing the shock signing of Carlos Tevez from Manchester United in a deal worth around £25.5 million. The transfer was a major statement, not just because of Tevez's quality, but also because City had lured a star player directly from their fierce local rivals. Tevez quickly became a divisive figure in the city, in part thanks to this advertisement board that appeared to mock his outgoing employers. He also became the heartbeat of City's attack. His relentless work rate, aggression, and eye for goal made him a perfect fit for the club's ambitions. In his first season, he scored 23 goals in all competitions and was instrumental in helping City finish fifth, narrowly missing out on Champions League qualification. The following season, he became City's captain and led by example, helping them win the FA Cup in 2011. Their first major trophy in 35 years, and playing a key role in laying the foundations for their future Premier League success. Despite a high-profile falling out with manager Roberto Mancini, which saw him briefly go AWOL, He returned later that year apologizing to both manager and his teammates, which would allow him to return and contribute to City's dramatic title win in 2012. In total, he scored 73 goals in 148 appearances for the club, and was eventually sold to Italian side Juventus in the summer of 2013. Despite the off-field controversies, Carlos Tevez's transfer to Manchester City was undoubtedly a hit, helping to change the club's mentality and pushing them into the elite. In January 2011, Chelsea shattered the British transfer record by signing Fernando Torres from Liverpool for £50 million, making him not only the most expensive Premier League signing of the season, but also the costliest in British football history at the time. Torres had been a sensation at Liverpool, but by the time of the move, there were already signs that injuries had taken a toll on his sharpness and explosiveness. The expectations at Chelsea were enormous, but Torres struggled badly to live up to them. He went 903 minutes before scoring his first goal for the club, and his confidence visibly drained with each passing game. Although he contributed in other ways, working hard for the team and creating space for others, the clinical goal-scoring edge that had defined his time at Liverpool never consistently returned. Over 4 seasons at Stamford Bridge, Torres scored 45 goals in 172 appearances across all competitions, a modest return for a striker of his reputation and transfer fee. However, despite his struggles, he still had iconic moments, most notably scoring the famous goal against Barcelona in the 2012 Champions League semi-final, helping Chelsea reach and eventually win the final. Overall though, it always felt that this was the beginning of a career decline for Torres, and evidently it turned out to be that. So, given the enormous transfer fee and the high expectations, Fernando Torres' move to Chelsea must be considered a miss. In the summer of 2011, Manchester City continued their spending spree by signing Sergio Aguero from Atletico Madrid for £38 million. Aguero arrived with a strong reputation as a prolific striker in Spain, but few could have predicted just how big an impact he would have on English football. Aguero made an immediate impression, scoring twice on his Premier League debut against Swansea City. Throughout his first season, his sharp movement, lethal finishing, and ability to create something out of nothing made him a nightmare for defenders. His crowning moment came on the final day of the 2011-2012 season, when he scored that unforgettable last-minute goal against Queen's Park Rangers to secure Manchester City's first top-flight title in 44 years, a moment that instantly became one of the most iconic in football history. Over his 10-year spell at Manchester City, Aguero made 390 appearances and scored a club record 260 goals. He won 5 Premier League titles, 6 League Cups and an FA Cup, cementing his legacy as one of the Premier League's greatest ever strikers. He is now immortalised with a statue outside of the Etihad Stadium. Sergio Aguero's transfer to Manchester City was an overwhelming hit, delivering historic moments, countless goals, and helping to establish City as a dominant force in English football. In the summer of 2012, Chelsea secured the signing of Belgian midfielder Eden Hazard from French side Lille for £32 million. After shining in Ligue 1 as the standout young talent in French football, Hazard was highly sought after across Europe, but Chelsea managed to win the race for his signature following their Champions League triumph earlier that year. Hazard adapted quickly to English football, dazzling fans with his incredible dribbling, close control and creativity. He immediately became a key player for Chelsea, providing goals and assists while playing with a style and flair that few in the Premier League could match. Over 7 seasons at Stamford Bridge, he consistently delivered, winning individual awards and helping Chelsea to major trophies. During his time at the club, Hazard made 352 appearances and scored 110 goals, winning 2 Premier League titles, 2 Europa Leagues, an FA Cup, and a League Cup. His 2014-15 and 2018-19 seasons, in particular, saw him ranked among the very best players in the world. In 2019, Hazard left Chelsea for Real Madrid, after giving the club 7 years of outstanding service. Eden Hazard's transfer to Chelsea was undoubtedly a hit, and he remains one of the greatest players in the club's modern history. In the summer of 2013, Arsenal pulled off one of the biggest transfer surprises in the modern era by signing Mesut Ozil from Real Madrid for £42.5 million. Arsenal had long been accused of being too cautious in the transfer market, But the arrival of Ozil signaled a shift in ambition and immediately lifted the mood among fans and players alike. Ozil made an instant impact, bringing world-class creativity and vision to Arsenal's midfield. His ability to unlock defenses with his passing was unmatched in the Premier League at the time, and he played a crucial role in ending Arsenal's 9-year trophy drought, helping the club lift the FA Cup in his first season. At his best, Ozil was one of the most graceful and technically gifted players in England, effortlessly creating chances and linking play. Over his 7.5 seasons at Arsenal, Ozil made 254 appearances, scored 44 goals, and registered an impressive 77 assists. He won 4 FA Cups during his time at the Emirates. However, his later years were marked by inconsistency, questions about his work rate, and eventually, a high-profile falling out with the club's management, leading to his departure in 2021. Looking at the overall picture, Mesut Ozil's move to Arsenal was a hit, particularly for the transformative effect he had during the first half of his time at the club. In the summer of 2014, Manchester United smashed the British transfer record with the signing of Angel Di Maria. The world-class winger arrived from Real Madrid for £59.7 million after starring for Argentina at the 2014 World Cup, as well as playing a key role in Madrid's Champions League triumph. Seen as a marquee signing to help restore United's fortunes after a disappointing season, he was given the coveted number 7 shirt and was expected to be a phenomenal signing. Di Maria started brightly, showing flashes of brilliance with his dribbling, vision and creativity. Early performances, including a stunning chip goal against Leicester City, suggested that he could become a transformative figure for United. However, things quickly unraveled. Struggling with injuries, a lack of fitness, and personal problems, including a traumatic burglary at his home, Di Maria never truly settled in Manchester. His form dipped sharply after Christmas, and he was eventually dropped from the starting 11. After just one turbulent season, he was sold to Paris Saint-Germain for around £44 million, making only 32 appearances and scoring 4 goals during his brief stay at Old Trafford. In recent interviews, Di Maria has expressed his dislike for United, his lack of feeling and care towards his famed shirt number, whilst his wife described this period of their lives by using several expletives. Given the fee involved and the level of expectation, Angel Di Maria's move to Manchester United must be considered and regarded as a colossal miss. In the summer of 2015, Manchester City broke their transfer record by signing Kevin De Bruyne from Wolfsburg for £55 million. De Bruyne had previously struggled for game time at Chelsea. His outstanding performances in the Bundesliga had rebuilt his reputation as one of Europe's most exciting attacking midfielders. However, he was written off as a flop and ridiculed by sections of the British media when City announced the signing. But De Bruyne quickly silenced his critics. His vision, passing range and intelligence immediately made him one of the Premier League's standout players. Over the following years, he became the heartbeat of Pep Guardiola's Manchester City side, capable of dictating the tempo of games and creating chances from almost anywhere on the pitch. Whether it's providing assists from acute angles and scoring wondrous curling efforts, De Bruyne quickly became one of the greatest players in the world. Since joining City, De Bruyne has won multiple Premier League titles, FA Cups, a Champions League, and numerous League Cups, a Club World Cup, and a European Super Cup, and has consistently been among the league's top assist providers. He has been named Premier League Player of the Season multiple times, and has often been cited as one of the best midfielders in the world. At the time of releasing this video, he has made over 418 appearances for the club, scoring over 108 goals, and providing over 150 assists across all competitions. He has now entered the final month of his Manchester City career, and is now spoken of as arguably the greatest midfielder in Premier League history. Therefore, his move to Manchester City has been a resounding hit. In the summer of 2016, Manchester United made headlines around the world by re-signing Paul Pogba from Juventus for £89 million, making him not just the most expensive Premier League signing of the season, but also the most expensive footballer in the world at the time. Pogba had left United on a free transfer as a teenager after limited first-team opportunities, but after 4 highly successful years at Juventus, the club were determined to bring him back as the centerpiece of their new project under Jose Mourinho. Pogba's return to Old Trafford brought huge expectations. In his first season, he helped United win the League Cup and the Europa League, and at his best, he showed flashes of his world-class talent, combining physicality, flair, passing range, and an eye for goal. However, consistency became a recurring issue throughout his second spell at United. While at times he produced brilliant individual performances, including a memorable brace against Manchester City in 2018 to spoil their title celebrations, he often struggled with injuries, tactical changes, and managerial upheaval. Over 6 seasons, Pogba made 233 appearances for Manchester United, scoring 39 goals and providing 51 assists. Despite moments of brilliance, he never fully met the enormous expectations that accompanied his record-breaking transfer, and his time at the club was marred by criticism of his attitude, commitment, and effort. He eventually left the club on a free transfer again in 2022, returning to Juventus. Given the size of the investment and the inconsistency over his second spell, Paul Pogba's move to Manchester United must ultimately be considered a miss. In the summer of 2017, Manchester United continued their big spending by signing Romelu Lukaku from Everton for an initial £75 million, with potential add-ons taking the deal even higher. It made Lukaku the most expensive Premier League signing of the season, and one of the most expensive strikers in football history at the time. After scoring regularly for West Brom and Everton, there was confidence that Lukaku could be the prolific forward United needed to challenge for major honours. Lukaku started brightly at Old Trafford, scoring 16 Premier League goals in his debut season and helping United to a second-place finish under Jose Mourinho. His pace, strength, and goal-scoring instincts were clear assets, but there were also criticisms over his first touch, link-up play, and inconsistency in front of goal, particularly against the biggest teams. By his second season, Lukaku's form dipped noticeably, and after Ole Gunnar Solskjaer replaced Mourinho, the Belgian striker found himself increasingly out of favour. After 2 seasons at United, scoring 42 goals in 96 appearances, Lukaku was sold to Inter Milan in 2019, where he went on to rebuild his reputation with an outstanding spell in Serie A. While Lukaku's goal return at United was respectable, given the huge transfer fee and the expectations placed upon him, his move to Manchester United must be judged as a miss. In the summer of 2018, Chelsea made history by signing Kepa Arrizabalaga from Athletic Bilbao for £71.6 million, making him the most expensive goalkeeper in football history. Chelsea moved for Kepa quickly, after losing Thibaut Courtois to Real Madrid, and the hefty fee reflected both his potential and the urgency of the situation. Kepa started reasonably well under Maurizio Sarri, helping Chelsea to a third-place finish in the Premier League and winning the Europa League in his first season. However, cracks soon began to appear. His infamous refusal to be substituted during the 2019 League Cup final against Manchester City drew worldwide attention and cast a shadow over his reputation. Over the following seasons, Kepa's form deteriorated sharply, with high-profile mistakes and a loss of confidence leading to him being dropped in favour of Edouard Mendy. Despite a few revivals later under different managers, Kepa never fully justified the enormous fee Chelsea paid. Despite this, he has won the Champions League, UEFA Super Cup, and Club World Cup, though much of that success came with him playing a backup role. He is still a Chelsea player to this day, and at the time of release has played 163 times for the club, although he has spent the past 2 seasons out on loan with both Real Madrid and AFC Bournemouth. Considering the expectations and record-breaking fee involved, Kepa's transfer to Chelsea must be considered a resounding miss. In the summer of 2019, Manchester United made Harry Maguire the world's most expensive defender by signing him from Leicester City for a staggering £80 million. United had been searching for a commanding centre-back to shore up their defence, and after Maguire's strong performances for Leicester and England at the 2018 World Cup, they made their move. Maguire settled quickly and was immediately made a first-choice starter at the heart of United's defence. Just a few months later, he was named club captain following the departure of Ashley Young, highlighting the leadership qualities he was seen to bring. His first season was relatively solid, helping United finish 3rd in the Premier League and reach 3 cup semi-finals. However, over time, Maguire's performances became increasingly inconsistent. While he showed strength in aerial duels and chipping in with the occasional goal, he suffered a catalogue of mistakes, lapses in positioning, and a lack of pace often left him exposed, particularly when United tried to play a high defensive line. Criticism from fans and pundits intensified, and by the 2022-23 season, Maguire had lost his regular starting place under Erik ten Hag, and was eventually stripped of the captaincy. At the time of release, Maguire has made 240 appearances, scoring 15 goals. Despite some strong periods, given the world record fee paid for a defender, and the way his United career unfolded, Harry Maguire's transfer ultimately has to be considered a miss, although there may be potential for this to be recovered still. In the summer of 2020, Chelsea completed the signing of Kai Havertz from Bayer Leverkusen for around £72 million, making him the Premier League's most expensive signing of the season. Havertz had been one of the standout young talents in European football, known for his technical ability, versatility, and composure in front of goal, and was seen as a key part of Chelsea's ambitious rebuild under Frank Lampard. Havertz's first season at Stamford Bridge was mixed. He struggled to adapt to the physicality and intensity of the Premier League at first, and his form was further disrupted after contracting COVID-19, which affected his fitness and sharpness. However, under new manager Thomas Tuchel, Havertz gradually improved, and he delivered when it mattered most, famously scoring the winning goal in the 2021 Champions League final against Manchester City. Over 3 seasons at Chelsea, Havertz made 139 appearances and scored 32 goals. He often played in a variety of roles, as a number 9, a false 9, and an attacking midfielder. But critics argued he never fully established himself in a single position, or consistently produced the numbers expected for such a high fee. In 2023, Havertz was sold to Arsenal for around £65 million. While Havertz produced some unforgettable moments, notably that Champions League final goal, considering the overall fee and inconsistency, his move to Chelsea must be regarded as a miss. In the summer of 2021, Manchester City shattered the British transfer record by signing Jack Grealish from Aston Villa for £100 million. The eye-watering fee made him the most expensive Premier League signing of the season and the highest-priced English player in history. Grealish had been outstanding at Villa, carrying much of their creative burden and establishing himself as one of the Premier League's most exciting talents. He'd also starred for England at Euro 2020, which improved his stock. Arriving at a star-studded Manchester City side under Pep Guardiola, there was enormous expectation around Grealish to immediately deliver. His first season was steady rather than spectacular, as he adjusted to City's more structured system, often playing deeper and more tactically disciplined than he had at Villa. While he showed flashes of his dribbling ability and creativity, his numbers, just 3 Premier League goals and 3 assists in his debut campaign, were considered underwhelming given the transfer fee. However, in his second season, Grealish grew into the team, playing a key role in City's treble-winning campaign in 2022-23. His work rate, positional intelligence, and ability to draw fouls became crucial, especially in big games. By the time City lifted the Premier League, FA Cup, and Champions League trophies, Grealish had fully established himself as a trusted and important member of Guardiola's side. However, the past 2 seasons have brought further spells of inconsistency and a number of injuries, and at times has seen Grealish on the fringes of the first team, despite, it's fair to say, playing well when he has been included. At the time of release, Grealish has played 156 games, scoring 17 goals. Discussing Grealish being a hit or miss is rather a divisive topic in itself. He has undoubtedly played a major role in that club's success. However, whether he is worth his £100 million price tag leaves a lot to be desired. If we are to judge him solely on performances and contributions alone, then Jack Grealish's move to Manchester City must be considered a hit. However, we are very aware many of you may rule this one as a big miss. In January 2023, Chelsea broke the British transfer record by signing Enzo Fernandez from Benfica, paying an insane £106.8 million, making him the most expensive Premier League signing ever at the time. Fernandez had just burst onto the world stage, winning the Young Player of the Tournament award at the 2022 World Cup with Argentina, and his performances caught the eye of Europe's biggest clubs. Chelsea moved swiftly to secure his signature, triggering his release clause in one of the most high-profile deals of the January window. Enzo was thrown straight into the heart of Chelsea's midfield, joining a team in transition during a turbulent campaign. Despite the weight of the price tag and the club's ongoing struggles, he quickly became a regular starter, impressing with his composure, vision, and ability to dictate play from deep. However, results didn't improve immediately, and Chelsea's chaotic form in the second half of the season meant Fernandes was often praised individually but couldn't lift the team as a whole. He showed plenty of promise, and during his second season, he looked more settled. However, the club again massively underperformed and would finish the season in the bottom half of the table. While the team continued to rebuild, Fernandes remained a central figure in midfield, but only time will tell if he is to justify his fee. To date, he has played 103 games, netting 13 goals. Though still early in his Premier League journey, Enzo Fernandez's move to Chelsea is shaping up to be a hit, although the colossal fee spent on him has yet to replicate into success for the team. In the summer of 2023, Chelsea continued their obscene spending under new owner Todd Boehly by yet again smashing the British transfer record. This time, they announced the signing of Moises Caicedo from Brighton and Hove Albion for a staggering £115 million, the most expensive signing in British football history. After impressing at Brighton with his energy, tackling and composure on the ball, Caicedo was seen as one of the best young midfielders in the Premier League, attracting interest from several top clubs. Chelsea fought off competition from Liverpool to secure his signature, but his debut season at Stamford Bridge proved to be turbulent. Despite flashes of his obvious ability, Caicedo struggled for consistency in a Chelsea side that was still in transition under new management. While his defensive work rate and ball-winning qualities remained strong, questions were raised about his ability to dictate games at the very highest level, especially given the enormous fee paid. Across the 2023-24 season, Caicedo made over 40 appearances for Chelsea during a chaotic year, but he wasn't able to immediately justify the record-breaking investment. His performances improved as the season progressed, suggesting that with time and stability, he could yet become a major asset. At the time of release, he has played 88 games, scoring 2 goals. At this stage, Moises Caicedo's move to Chelsea must be considered a miss, although there is still plenty of time for him to fully live up to his potential. In January 2025, Manchester City made the most expensive signing of the Premier League season by bringing in Omar Marmoush from Eintracht Frankfurt for a fee of £59 million, potentially rising to £64 million with add-ons. Marmoush had been enjoying a sensational campaign in the Bundesliga, scoring 15 goals in 17 league appearances, and his pace, movement and finishing ability caught the attention of Europe's elite clubs. City moved quickly to secure the Egyptian forward, adding more firepower to their already formidable attacking options. Marmoush adapted quickly to English football, showcasing his versatility by playing across the front line. In his first 12 Premier League appearances for Manchester City, he scored 6 goals and provided 2 assists, including a memorable hat-trick in a 4-0 win over Newcastle United. His energy, ability to run in behind defences, and clinical edge gave Pep Guardiola even more tactical flexibility. Although it is still early days, Marmoush's impact at City has been very promising, and he looks to be settling in well to life at the top of English football. At the time of release, he has played 18 games, scoring 7 goals. At this stage, Omar Marmoush's transfer to Manchester City is shaping up to be a hit, although like stated, it's too early to tell. Thanks for watching. If you like digging into the nostalgic side of football, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. We've been Retro Football Club. Until next time, goodbye.